Right now, today, this second, you're paying for the life you have. And the price is so high, it's quietly bankrupting you. You can't see the bill, because the bill is written in a currency nobody ever taught you to count: suffering. Let me say the thing out loud that the whole world is built to keep you from noticing. You believe that if you can just get a little more, you'll finally arrive. A little more money, a little more recognition, the right relationship, the body, the title, the house. You believe these things are the price of a good life, and that once you pay it, the good life is yours to keep. But you have it backwards. Those things aren't the price, they're the bait. The price is everything you burn through trying to reach them, and the years you spend feeling like you haven't started living yet, and the strange low ache that follows you even on the good days. That ache is the interest on a debt you don't remember taking out. There was a man who saw this more clearly than almost anyone who has ever lived. His name was Arthur Schopenhauer, and he wasn't a happy person, not even a little. And he'd have found it funny that you wanted him to be. He spent his life staring at one question: why, no matter what a person gets, are they never actually satisfied? Why does the relief always wear off? Why does the next thing always appear the moment you grab the last one? And the answer he came to is one of the most uncomfortable ideas in all of human thought. He said that underneath your plans, your goals, your careful little reasons, there's a blind, endless, mindless force that just wants. It doesn't want anything in particular, it just wants. He called it the will, and he said it's not something you have, it's something you are. You think you're a person who has desires. Schopenhauer says, no, you're a desire that grew a face. And I want you to feel how strange that is before we go any further. Picture an animal in the wild. It's hungry, so it hunts, so it eats. And for a short while, the hunger stops. Then it comes back. The animal doesn't get to win against hunger. There's no day when it has eaten enough forever and walks off into a hunger-free life. The hunger isn't a problem to be solved. It's the engine of the animal. It's the thing that keeps it moving, and it's also the thing it can never escape. Schopenhauer's claim is that you're exactly the same, except your hunger's got more complicated. You don't just hunger for food, you hunger for status, for love, for meaning, for proof that you matter, for the next thing, and then the next thing. But the structure is identical. The hunger drives you, the hunger never ends, and the hunger isn't something you have, it's what you're made of. Strip away your name and your story and your careful reasons, and what's left is this old, blind, restless wanting, the same force that pushes a root through concrete and a moth into a flame, wearing a human shape for a few short decades. So when I say you're paying a bill, hear exactly what I mean. You're not paying a one-time price for a good life that you then get to keep. You're paying rent forever on the simple fact of being a creature that wants. And the rent quietly goes up every single time you think you have finally bought the place. And that one shift changes everything about the bill you're paying. Because if the wanting is the real you, then it can never be satisfied. Because a thing can't satisfy itself out of existence. The wanting doesn't want to be fed. The wanting wants to keep wanting. That's its whole nature. And you have spent your entire life trying to feed something whose only goal is to stay hungry. So let me walk you through the bill, line by line, the parts you have been paying without ever reading the total. By the end, you're not going to feel better, but you're going to see the machine. And seeing the machine is the only thing that was ever actually on offer. And hear one thing before we start, so you don't mistake this for the usual complaint about phones and modern life. This isn't a video about how the world got too fast or too shallow. The thing I'm describing is older than any of that. It was true for the Roman, true for the medieval farmer, true for the king and his palace who owned everything and still couldn't sleep. The modern world didn't invent this hunger. It just got extremely good at feeding it, which is a different thing and a worse one. The trap is ancient. We simply built a more efficient version of it and aimed it directly at your face, all day, every day. So as we go through the bill, don't tell yourself this is something you could fix by deleting an app. The app is new. The wound it presses on is as old as wanting itself. I'm going to take you through it the way it actually unfolds in a life, not as a list of separate problems, but as one single thing that keeps reappearing in different clothes. It begins as a small feeling that other people are doing better than you. Then it becomes the way you start performing your own life for an audience. Then it becomes the strange flatness after you finally get the thing you were sure you needed. Then it becomes the entire shape of your years. And underneath all of it, running the whole time, is one engine. Once you see that engine, you can't stop seeing it. That's where we're going. Not toward relief, toward sight. Start with the smallest, most everyday version of the ache, the feeling that everyone else is more alive than you're. You scroll and the lives go by, and every one of them looks fuller than yours. People being promoted, people in love, people on beaches in new apartments, laughing in photos that look effortless. And something cold settles in your chest, soft, a quiet little voice that says, "My life isn't as alive as theirs. There's something they found that I missed." Schopenhauer understood why this feeling is almost impossible to escape. The will inside you doesn't measure your life in absolute terms. It measures it against others. It's always comparing, always ranking, always finding the gap. It can't rest in what you have, because resting is the one thing it's built to never do. So it points at the next person and whispers, "Them, you should have what they have." But look at what you're actually comparing. You're comparing the inside of your life against the outside of theirs. You know your own fear, your own boredom, the 3 a.m. version of you that no photo ever shows. And you're holding that raw, unedited footage up against the trailer they cut for the public, the highlight against the whole reel. And here is the part the comparison never shows you. Every one of those lives is paying its own bill. The promotion came with a kind of loneliness. The relationship in the photo has a silence inside it you'll never see. The person with the perfect body is at war with the mirror in a way that never ends. Nobody posts the price, they only post the result. The world has become a shop window, and shop windows exist to make you want, not to tell you the truth. A ruin almost never shows up in the photograph. So the first thing you're paying before you have even gotten out of bed is the tax of comparison. You're bleeding contentment every single day, not because your life is bad, but because you're measuring your real, ordinary, breathing life against a story other people are performing. And the will loves this. A person who feels behind is a person who keeps spending. And here is what makes it worse than any time in history. The comparison used to stop at the edge of your village. You measured yourself against the few dozen people you actually knew, and on a good day you might come out near the top of that small pile. Now the pile is the entire planet. Every time you pick up your phone, you're placed instantly at the bottom of a ranking of 8 billion people, sorted so that the most beautiful, the most rich, the most successful, the most envied float straight to the top of your screen. You're not comparing yourself to your neighbors anymore. You're comparing yourself to the highlight reel of the whole human race, edited and filtered, delivered to you 1,000 times a day. There's no version of you that wins that comparison. There can't be. No matter what you achieve, the feed will always show you someone with more, because somewhere on Earth there's always someone with more, and the machine is built to find them and put them in front of your face. So the lack never closes. It can't close. You are handed a measuring stick with no end and told to feel good about where you land on it. And then they sell you the cure for the very feeling they manufactured. Buy this, become this, achieve this, and the gap will finally close. It never closes. The gap is the product. The gap is what keeps you reaching for your wallet and your phone and the next thing you're sure will finally make you feel like the people in the photographs. Which leads straight into the second line on the bill. Because once you start comparing, you do something stranger. You start performing too. You stop just living your life and you start packaging it. You learn without ever deciding to how to build a version of yourself that other people will want to look at. The meal becomes a photo. The trip becomes content. The quiet moment becomes something to be shown later. You begin to live from the outside in. It stops mattering as much what you actually feel and starts mattering more how it will be seen. Schopenhauer saw the root of this long before there were any screens. He noticed that human beings will trade almost anything for the good opinion of others. We chase reputation, status, the admiring glance, as if those things were food. And the cruel joke is that this hunger has no bottom. There's no amount of approval that finally fills it, because the moment you get it, the will adjusts, and now you need more from more people at a higher level. The applause you would have killed for last year is just background noise now. And so you become a product. You build a self that's designed to be consumed, often before you have ever figured out who you actually are underneath it. Your personality becomes a pitch. Your pain becomes a post. Even your honesty becomes a kind of performance, a calculated rawness that you hope will land well. And the bill for this one is brutal, because you pay it with your own identity. A self that's built on approval can never stand still. It has to keep monitoring the room, reading reactions, adjusting. It's never at rest because it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the audience. And all it takes is a few hours of silence, one rejection, one post that nobody noticed, and the whole thing wobbles, and the emptiness underneath shows through. You spent so long becoming someone worth watching that you forgot to be someone worth being, alone, when nobody is watching at all. And the strangest part is what it does to your actual experiences. There was a time when a thing that happened to you was just a thing that happened to you. Now, almost nothing is allowed to simply happen. The sunset isn't enough on its own, it has to be captured. The meal isn't enough, it has to be shown. The moment with someone you love is happening and half of your mind is already outside the moment, watching it from a distance, wondering how it will look to other people later. You have become a spectator at your own life. You're never fully inside anything anymore because a part of you has stepped out to film it. Schopenhauer would say this is the will doing what it always does, pulling you out of the present and into a transaction. Because a moment fully lived gives you nothing to sell and nothing to compare. A moment performed can be traded for attention, for approval, for proof that you exist. And so slowly you stop living from the inside out and start living from the outside in. What you feel matters less and less. How it reads matters more and more. Until one day you realize you can barely tell the difference between something that moved you and something that simply looked good, because you haven't had a private, unwatched, unposted experience in longer than you can remember. You're paying for the audience's eyes with your own, and the price is that you're slowly going blind to your own life. Now here's the line on the bill that explains all the others, the one Schopenhauer is most famous for, and the one almost nobody actually believes until it's too late. Satisfaction is a lie, and it lasts about an hour, maybe less. Think about the last thing you really wanted, truly wanted, the thing you were sure would change how you felt. Maybe you got it, and maybe, if you're honest, you remember that the feeling of having it was nowhere near as big as the feeling of wanting it had been. There was a spike, a short, bright spike, and then, faster than you wanted to admit, it became normal. The new phone became just the phone. The raise became just your salary, and somehow it wasn't enough anymore either. The relationship you ached for became the ordinary fact of your Tuesday. Schopenhauer explained exactly why this happens, and it's the key to the whole thing. He said that pleasure and satisfaction aren't real positive things. They're only the brief absence of a pain. When you want something, you're in a state of lack, and lack hurts. When you get it, the hurt stops for a moment, and you call that stopping happiness. But it's not happiness, it's just the silence after a noise. And silence can't be enjoyed for long, because the mind immediately stops noticing it. This is why you only ever really feel what's missing, the toothache you feel, the 1,000 teeth that don't hurt you feel nothing about at all. Health, comfort, the things that are going right are invisible. The one thing that's wrong fills your whole sky. We're built to feel the lack and go blind to the having, which means the will has rigged the game so that you can never win it from the inside. Get everything you want, and within a year, the winds go quiet, and the next lack lights up the sky. So you're paying for satisfaction in advance every time, and the satisfaction never delivers what the wanting promised. You're buying a product that evaporates the instant you unwrap it, and you keep buying it, because the wanting comes back so fast and so loud that you become convinced the problem was that you got the wrong thing, not that the thing itself was never going to be enough. Modern psychology proved Schopenhauer right almost 200 years after he died, and they gave it a clinical name. They call it hedonic adaptation, the treadmill. Researchers tracked people through the best things that can happen to a human life, marriages, promotions, even large sums of money falling out of the sky, and they watched the same thing happen every time. There would be a spike, a real one, and then within about a year, sometimes less, the person drifted back down to roughly the same level of day-to-day contentment they had before. The wind didn't raise the floor. The floor crept back up to meet the wind, and then swallowed it. They even studied people who won the lottery, the literal fantasy, the thing half the world plays for, And not only did the winners drift back toward their old baseline within a year or so, many of them reported something darker. The ordinary small pleasures of life, a good cup of coffee, a conversation, a quiet evening, gave them less joy than before. The enormous high had recalibrated them. Normal good things no longer registered. They had paid for the spike with their ability to enjoy anything smaller than a spike. That's the trap, in its purest form. The thing you're sure will finally fix the feeling doesn't fix the feeling, and on its way out, it raises the price of every future feeling. So you need a bigger one next time, and a bigger one after that. The will has built you a hunger that grows by being fed. And you, not knowing any of this, just assume you haven't gotten enough yet. You think the answer is more, when more is the thing making the hole deeper. And this is where the whole shape of a human life comes into view, because once you see that the having never satisfies, you start to notice the pattern Schopenhauer described better than anyone. Life swings like a pendulum, back and forth, between two kinds of suffering, pain and boredom. When you don't have what you want, you suffer, you strain, you reach, you ache toward the thing. That's the pain end of the swing. But then you get it, and the wanting goes quiet. And almost immediately you arrive at the other end, boredom, the flat, restless emptiness of having nothing left to chase. And boredom is so unbearable that you'll manufacture a new desire just to escape it. You'll find a new thing to want so that you can suffer toward, so that at least you're not bored. Look at your own life and you'll see it. The stretch of straining towards something, followed by the brief blur of getting it, followed by the strange deflation, followed by the search for the next thing to strain toward. Back and forth, pain to boredom to pain again. On and on. And the thin sliver in the middle, the blur as the pendulum passes through the center, that little moment between no longer suffering and not yet bored, that's the only thing we ever get to call happiness. A blur, a passing through, never a place you get to stand. That's the bill. Your life is the swing of that pendulum, and you have been told the whole time that one more push will finally stop at somewhere good. It won't. The pendulum doesn't stop. There's always another arc. And watch how cleverly the two ends feed each other, because this is the part that traps people for decades. When you're suffering towards something, when you're deep in the wanting, you're at least not bored. The chase gives life a shape, a direction, a reason to get up. So a strange thing happens. People become addicted to the wanting itself, because the wanting protects them from the emptiness on the other side. They don't actually want the goal, they want the not being bored that comes from chasing the goal. And the moment they reach it, and the boredom rushes in, they feel that flat horror, and they immediately go find something new to chase, not because they need the new thing, but because they can't stand to stand still. This is why so many people who get everything they wanted are quietly miserable, and why so many people who are still climbing feel strangely alive. It's not that climbing is good and arriving is bad, it's that climbing keeps the pendulum away from the boredom end, and arriving drops you straight into it. You have probably felt this yourself and not had words for it. The slight letdown after a thing you worked hard for. The way a finished project leaves a hole instead of a glow. The restlessness on the vacation you saved a year for. That's the pendulum hitting the far wall. That's boredom, the second face of suffering, arriving right on schedule, the instant the wanting runs out. So you're not choosing between suffering and happiness. You never were. You're choosing which kind of suffering you would rather have today. The ache of wanting, or the emptiness of having nothing left to want. And the little blur in the middle, the passing through, is the entire budget of joy a human life is allotted. You have been spending everything you have to try to live in that blur permanently, and it can't be done, because the blur is a motion, not a place. And notice how the will keeps you swinging. It keeps the target in the future, always the future. You'll be happy when you finish school, when you pay it off, when the kids are grown, when you finally make it. The wanting points forward like a compass that only knows one direction, and you follow it your whole life, paying out the present moment to buy a future that, when it arrives, is just another present moment pointing at another future. You're always handing over the only thing you actually have, which is now, in exchange for a later that never comes the way you imagined it. You live like a man working a job where he is paid only in promises, and he keeps showing up year after year because the promise feels so real. Schopenhauer's point is brutally simple. The present is the only real thing. and you treat it as a hallway to somewhere better. You spend your whole life in the hallway. The room was the hallway. There was never anything but hallway. And the future you're paying for isn't even real. It's a picture in your head, and the picture is always better than the thing will be, because in the picture, there's no boredom, no adaptation, no new wanting waiting to ambush you the moment you arrive. You imagine the version of you who has the thing, and that imagined you is finally at peace, finally enough, finally done. But that person doesn't exist and never will, because the real you who arrives will still be carrying the will, and the will already be pointing at the next thing before you've even finished celebrating. You've done this already many times, and somehow it hasn't taught you. Think back to something you once desperately wanted, and now simply have. A thing that years ago you were certain would be the arrival. You have it now, and it's just part of the furniture of your life. It didn't end the wanting just moved house into some new desire and took the same feeling of not yet with it. The future you're sacrificing today for is the same kind of future you already reached a dozen times before, and each time it turned, on arrival, back into an ordinary present that was pointing somewhere else. This is the longest con the will runs on you, and it runs your whole life. It keeps the good part permanently one step ahead of where you're standing. Tomorrow, next year, when things settle, when I make it, and you keep paying today into that account, and the account never pays out because its entire function is to never pay out. A satisfied person stops spending, so you're kept just barely unsatisfied forever, reaching toward a finish line that moves back exactly as fast as you walk toward it. Picture the whole thing laid out. A child who can't wait to be a teenager, sure that real life starts then. A teenager who can't wait to leave home, sure that real life starts then. A young adult, sure it all begins once the career takes off, then once the money is stable, then once the right person arrives, then once the kids are raised, then once retirement comes and there's finally time. And then an old person, sitting in that long-awaited free time, looking back and realizing the strangest thing of all, that at every single stage, the living was supposed to start later. That the whole life was spent leaning forward into a future, and the future kept turning into a present that was also leaning forward, and somehow the actual life, the only one there was, slipped by underneath all that leaning, mostly unnoticed, while they were busy getting ready for it to begin. That's the price you don't see until the end. Not money, not effort, presence. You pay for the imaginary future with the only real thing you'll ever own, which is your attention, right now, in this moment, the one you're spending reading these words while some part of you is already wondering what's next. The will is very patient. It's happy to let you defer your entire existence one reasonable tomorrow at a time, because a person always living for later is a person who never stops to ask whether the whole arrangement was a trap. And every step down that hallway has a price you don't see when you're choosing it. This is the next line on the bill, and it's the one that ruins people who actually succeed. Every want has a hidden cost, and the cost is almost never the money. People look at the thing they want and they see only the prize. They want the applause without the loneliness it brings, the money without the anxiety that comes with having something to lose, the beauty without the obsession that comes with trying to keep it, the power without the suspicion that everyone around you wants something. They see the top of the mountain and they edit out the climb. And the climb is where you actually spend your life. And here's the part that should genuinely frighten you. Often, getting the thing changes you into a person who can't enjoy it. The man who gave 30 years to building wealth wakes up surrounded by comfort and finds he no longer knows how to be close to another human being. The woman who built her whole self around being beautiful watches aging arrive like a threat to her existence. The person admired by everyone becomes a prisoner of the image they created, unable to relax without guilt, performing excellence even when they're alone. This is the part of ambition nobody puts in the success story. Every choice strengthens one part of your life by starving another. Choose freedom and you may lose stability. Choose stability and you may lose intensity. Choose to be admired and your peace may quietly leave the building. You don't get a complete life, you get a shape, And every shape is also a set of things you gave up. And you usually don't notice what you traded until the trade is already done. You think you're building a future. What you're actually doing is slowly negotiating away your time, then your values, then your presence, then the real version of you. One small, reasonable-seeming deal at a time, until you arrive at the thing you wanted and can't find yourself anywhere in it. The cruelest version of this is that success tends to reward the most artificial part of you, the mask that performs well, the version that's most useful, most adapted, most marketable. And while that version gets fed, the spontaneous, soft, actually human part of you goes quiet from neglect. There may be no deeper failure available to a person than this one: to win everything the world told you to want and to lose, somewhere along the way, the self that was supposed to enjoy it. And it never happens in one big moment. That's what makes it so hard to stop. Nobody sits down and decides to trade their soul for a result. It goes one small, reasonable deal at a time. You stay late just this once for a good reason. You let the friendship slide just for now because things are busy. You go quiet about the thing you actually believe because it's not worth a fight in this room. You perform the version of yourself that gets rewarded because it gets rewarded, and the version that doesn't get rewarded slowly stops showing up. Each individual trade is small, each one is defensible, and 10 years of them leaves you standing in the life you wanted, unable to find yourself anywhere in it. Schopenhauer saw that the will doesn't care about you. Pause for a second. The hunger that drives you isn't on your side. It's not trying to make you happy, it's using you to keep itself going the way it uses every creature, and it will span your entire personality, your tenderness, your honesty, your peace like loose change if that's what it takes to get the next thing. You're not the beneficiary of your own ambition, you're its fuel. So when you look at someone who has it all and seems hollow, don't be confused. That hollowness isn't a malfunction, it's the receipt. They paid in the only currency that ever actually matters, the hours of their one life and the realness of their own self. And they bought a pile of things that can't give those back. And the most frightening part is that they often can't even feel what they lost because the part of them that would have felt it is the exact part they spent. Now we come to the line on the bill that most people spend their entire lives running from: boredom. Because boredom isn't just an annoyance. Schopenhauer thought boredom was one of the most revealing experiences a human being can have, and you avoid it because somewhere inside you, you already know what it shows. Watch what you do the second you're alone with nothing. The instant there's a gap, you fill it. You reach for the phone before you have even felt the boredom arrive. In line, at a red light, in the 3 seconds the video takes to load, you reach. You can't sit in an empty room with your own mind for 15 minutes without going looking for something, anything, to put between you and the silence. Ask why. Really ask. Why is doing nothing so unbearable that people will do almost anything to avoid it? Schopenhauer's answer is the kind of thing that once you hear it, you can't unhear. He said that boredom is the moment the distractions fall away and existence shows you its true face, and its true face is empty. If life had some built-in meaning, some inherent worth, then simply existing would be enough. Just being would feel like something. You would be able to sit in a quiet room and feel full. But you can't. Almost nobody can. The emptiness comes flooding in. And that, Schopenhauer said, is the proof. The fact that mere existence isn't enough, that we have to constantly stuff it with goals and noise and distraction, reveals that there's nothing there underneath holding it up. Boredom is the universe quietly showing you the bill, the real one, the total. And the total is that the thing you're so desperately trying to fill has no bottom and never did. That's why people are terrified of being alone, not of empty rooms, of the questions that empty rooms let in. With no distraction, the mind drifts to the things you have spent years outrunning. The fact that you're getting older, the fact that the days are vanishing faster than you can hold them. The quiet question underneath everything, the one that's almost impossible to sit with. Is this really what living is? Most people would rather do anything than answer that honestly, so they make very sure they're never alone long enough to be asked. And there's now an entire industry whose only job is to make sure that gap never opens. Think about it clearly for a second. There are some of the smartest people on the planet working in enormous buildings with budgets bigger than most countries, and their entire task is to make sure you're never bored, never still, never left alone with your own mind for even a moment. Every time you feel the smallest flicker of emptiness, there's something engineered, tested on millions of people, waiting in your pocket to fill it before you can feel it. They have industrialized the escape from boredom. They have made it frictionless. And you should ask yourself why that's so profitable. Why is your boredom so much money to so many people? The answer is the one Schopenhauer would give. Because in the gap, in the boredom, you might actually see clearly. You might feel the emptiness and instead of running, sit with it long enough to ask what you're really doing with your life. A person who sits with that question becomes very hard to sell to. They start wanting less, they start needing the next thing less, and that's a catastrophe for an economy built on your endless wanting. So the gap must be filled. The silence must never be allowed to arrive. You must be kept just distracted enough to never look directly at the thing the distraction is hiding. So understand what's happening when you reach for the phone in the empty moment. You think you're killing time. You're being kept from a confrontation. The boredom you're running from is the one moment the whole system can't survive you having, because it's the moment you might finally see the bill, read the total, and quietly decide to stop paying it. And now, having walked all the way down the bill, we arrive at the line that reframes every other line, the one that turns this from a list of complaints into a single hard truth. You're not the one wanting. The wanting is doing you. Go back to the start. Schopenhauer said the will isn't a tool you use, it's the thing you're. And that means the desires that have run your whole life were never really chosen by you. You didn't sit down one day and rationally decide what to crave. The craving was already there, ancient, blind, older than your name, and your mind came along afterward and built reasons for it. You think you chose your goals. Mostly your goals chose you and then handed your mind the job of justifying them. This is the deepest cut, so sit with it. The relationships you chased out of loneliness, the career you picked to feel like somebody, the endless small wants that fill your days. How many of them did your conscious, free self actually author? And how many of them were just the will, the blind hunger, steering a body and a brain that came up with explanations after the fact? The way a person dragged downstream insists they meant to go that way all along. You have been calling it me wanting this, but look closely and the me gets thin. There's wanting, and there's a story narrating the wanting, and the story is the part you call yourself. Underneath the story, it's just the old hunger, the same hunger that drives every living thing wearing your particular face for a few decades before it moves on. You're not the driver. You never were. You're what the wanting looks like from the inside. Schopenhauer said something about this that's almost impossible to argue with once you really hear it. He said, "You can do what you want, but you can't want what you want." Sit with that one. Yes, in any given moment, you're free to chase your desire, but the desire itself, where did it come from? Did you choose to find that person attractive? Did you choose to crave status, to fear being left out, to want the things your particular brain and body and history happen to want? No, they arrived. They were already running before you ever showed up to take credit for them. You're free to obey the wanting. You were never free to write it. And this is the quiet horror underneath an ordinary life. You feel like the author. You feel like the one making the choices. But run the tape back on any major decision you ever made and watch how the reasons came after the poll, not before it. You wanted it first, in your gut, in the dark, and then your clever mind built a case for why it was wise, and you walked away believing the case had led you there. The case never led you anywhere. The hunger led, and the mind followed behind it with a clipboard writing down justifications. So who exactly has been paying this bill all these years? Not the calm, rational chooser you imagine yourself to be. That one is mostly a narrator, a voice that explains decisions it didn't actually make. The one paying is the blind old will, spending your life on its endless errands. And the one suffering is you, the awareness caught in the middle, feeling every ache of a chase you never truly agreed to. That's the deepest line on the bill. You've been suffering for the appetites of something that's not even fully you and calling it your life, and blaming yourself when it doesn't feel like enough. And that's why there's no winning. That's the final number on the bill. You can't satisfy your way out because the one doing the wanting is the one collecting the payment. You can't defeat the hunger by feeding it because feeding it's exactly how it survives. You can't buy your way to the bottom of a thing that has no bottom. Every solution the world sells you, get more, achieve more, become more, is just the will selling you a faster way to keep paying it. And here is the mistake almost everyone makes the second they understand this. They hear that wanting causes suffering, so they decide the answer is to simply want less, to go cold, to detach, stop reaching, stop caring, and call that wisdom. But look closely and you'll see the trick. Now you're wanting to not want. You're striving to stop striving. You have taken the whole hunger and pointed it at the goal of having no hunger, and you're chasing emptiness the same way you used to chase everything else. That's not escape. That's the will in a monk's robe. The restlessness is identical. You have just given it a collar name. Schopenhauer was too honest to sell you that. He never said, want less and you'll finally be happy, because he knew you can't decide to stop wanting any more than you can decide to stop your own heartbeat. The will isn't under your command. It's the thing your commands come out of. So every cheap answer that sounds deep, just let go, just be present, just need nothing, runs into the same wall. You can't let go of the thing that's doing the gripping. You can't use the hunger to cure the hunger. The one who would do the letting go is the wanting itself, and it has no interest in releasing you. So what's left? Be honest, because this is where the soft people lie to you. This is where the gentle version of this video tells you the answer is to want less, to be grateful, to find your peace, and sends you off feeling warm. I'm not going to do that, because Schopenhauer didn't do that, and the truth is harder and more useful than the comfortable lie. The honest answer is that you don't get to win. There's no setting where the wanting goes silent forever and you walk off into contentment. As long as you're alive, the will is alive, and it will keep generating the next lack, the next ache, the shining thing in the distance. That's not a problem you fix. That's the weather of being a conscious creature. But Schopenhauer did notice something. He noticed that there are rare moments when the wanting goes quiet on its own. When you stand in front of something beautiful and forget yourself for a second. When you're so absorbed in something that you stop being a person who wants and just become a thing that sees. In those moments, the pendulum stops, not because you got what you wanted, but because, briefly, you wanted nothing at all. The bill stops running. You're, for a heartbeat, free, not because the debt is paid, but because you stopped pretending it ever could be. He pointed at one more thing, too, and it's darker and stranger than it first sounds. He said that when you really understand that the same blind hunger drives every living creature, something can shift in how you see other people. Because then you look at the person who wronged you, the one you envy, the one who has more, and you see that they're caught in the exact same machine you're in. The same will is grinding them down. The same emptiness waits for them at the top of their mountain. They aren't your enemy. They are another animal chained to the same wheel, suffering toward their own horizon, paying their own bill they can't read. And in that recognition, the comparison loses its teeth, because there's no one left to envy. Everyone is losing the same game. The rich man and the poor man are both hungry. The only difference is the menu. This isn't a happy ending. It's just a clearer one. The wanting still runs, the bill still comes, but the constant gnawing sense that everyone else cracked a code you missed, that quietly dissolves, because you finally see there's no code. There's just the will wearing 8 billion faces, and every one of them is tired. That's the whole offer. Not a cure, not peace forever, just the ability to see the machine clearly, to stop believing the next purchase ends the debt, and to live awake in the small, quiet gaps where the wanting loosens its grip and you can finally look around. Most people never get even that because they spend every gap reaching for the phone. So here is where it leaves you. You came in thinking you were paying for a better life, and that one day the payments would stop and the life would be yours. Now you know the truth. The thing selling you the life and the thing collecting the bill are the same thing, and it lives inside you, and it doesn't take a final payment. There's no clear total, there's no paid in full. The ache on the good days was never a sign you were doing it wrong. It was the sound of the machine running exactly as designed. That's not comfort, I know. Comfort is for people who still believe someone is coming to hand them a receipt and tell them they're done. This is better than comfort because it's true and because you can actually stand on it. You stop chasing the final purchase that ends the wanting because you finally understand there's no such purchase. And in the space that opens up when you stop chasing it, for the first time, you might actually see the life you already have in the only moment it was ever available, which is now, before the pendulum swings again. So what do you actually do with this? Not need less, that was the lie. Not pretend you have transcended your own nature, because you haven't, and the people who claim they have are just performing one more want, the want to look enlightened. What you do is smaller and harder than any of that. You stop believing the story the wanting tells you. You feel the next must-have rise up, the next thing you're suddenly certain will finally be enough, and instead of being swept down the river behind it, you recognize it. There it's again, you think, the same voice, the same promise it has broken 100 times before. And just by seeing it clearly, you loosen its grip a little. You don't obey it quite as blindly. You buy yourself a few inches of distance from the machine, and a few inches is more freedom than most people get in a lifetime. You'll still want, you'll still chase, you'll still pay, but you'll do it with your eyes open, knowing what it is, knowing it never ends, knowing the next thing isn't the answer, and that knowing changes the whole texture of a life. The man who doesn't know he's on a treadmill runs himself to death chasing a horizon. The man who knows it's a treadmill can, at least sometimes, slow down, look up, and notice he is still breathing, still here, in the only moment he will ever actually have. The bill is still running. It was running the whole time you were reading this. The only thing that changed is that now you can read it. So tell me where you land. Is Schopenhauer right that the wanting can never be satisfied no matter what you get? Or is that just the story people tell themselves to feel wise about the things they were too afraid to go and get? Pick a side, and look, fight for it in the comments. I read every one. I mean that.